going to stand for a few minutes and talk to a lady who has a lot of accomplishments to brag about, and the things she's done in aviation are just unreal. And I'm with Hope Edge, and we're out here at Monroe Airport, like I said. And Hope, how in the world did you ever get involved in this?
That's a good question. You know, I didn't really grow up, aviation was not in my family, you know, didn't have any other pilots, you know, that I really knew as a kid, but I kind of got into it later in life. I had a couple of friends who were flying and had their own planes, and so about 10 years ago, I went up for my first flight and loved it, and, you know, kind of got hooked on it, and I went up for another flight, actually at the beach. We landed in a grass strip near Topsail Island, and I thought, this is really cool. I mean, you can literally have the freedom to go wherever you want to go, and I just love that aspect of it. So after that, you know, it is a little bit addicting, and I signed up for my first, you know, lesson out at Wilgrove, and I didn't even know Wilgrove existed, and someone just happened to mention the name, and, you know, give them a call and see what they can do. I didn't know where it was located. And so I, you know, went out there, and I, you know, met Alan, who's great and very warm and inviting and welcoming. And
oh, Alan's super. He's a great guy. We talked to him a long time, a few days ago, about the airport's closing, and it's just sad because you spent a lot of time flying in and out there, didn't you?
I did. I, you know, worked with Robert Reynolds as my instructor, and you know, at first going out there, you see, you know, it's completely tree line, and it's a very short runway, and so it was a little bit intimidating at first, but you know, Robert told me, he's like, if you can land here, you can land anywhere. And so I really do feel like it was, you know, the best place that I possibly could have learned to fly. And, you know, everybody was very inviting and really wanted to work with me. You know, a woman in aviation is, you know, we're a really small percentage of pilots out there, and I felt like, you know, they wanted to see me succeed, and it was a good place for me to learn.
Tell me about some of your accomplishments and your certifications.
So I got my private pilot license 3 years ago, and I did all of that training there at Wilgrove. And I've recently gotten my instrument rating and my commercial rating.
Great.
My commercial certificate, and then I also got my seaplane rating a couple years ago before I started working for a company selling aircraft that was a amphibious aircraft. So. And
you were showing us the seaplane over here, and so you work for the company that sells those aircraft. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So it's nice to do a mix of sales plus, you know, being able to do demo flights and take people up for an experience is really, I mean, it's a really fun gig.
Well, tell me what you did this morning before we got here.
So I'm currently working on my flight instructor certification. So I did a quick ground session, and, you know, I'm working towards that rating so that I can start teaching other people how to do what I love to do.
On down the road, what would you, when your career is in the twilight years, what do you hope to have accomplished that you haven't done already?
I feel like it's wide open. You know, I don't know exactly what my path is going to be, but I know that I love aviation. I'm excited about it. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about, you know, telling other people about it. Part of me getting my flight instructor certification is that I want to get more people to experience what I've been able to experience. I think a lot of people have in mind, like, oh, that'd be really cool, but, you know, getting them to actually try it. Because once you go up for one flight, I mean, not too many people say they hate it, you know.
That's terrific.
So yeah, it's an open book. We'll see.
Tell me about getting in and out of Wilgrove Airport. That had to be quite an experience, as short as it is.
It is. It can be a little bit intimidating at first, but, you know, once I got used to it, it really just became comfortable for me. But, you know, I consider it a short-filled runway, and so, you know, we use 2 notches of flaps to take off to make sure we're climbing out of there and clearing the trees, and coming in for landing, again, short field. So I'm using full flaps, and I'm trying to really, like, pick out a spot on that runway where I really want to be precise and land, and, you know, making sure you're clearing those trees. And it takes a lot of focus and you know, attention for sure, but it's also a lot of fun. It's a nice challenge, you know, versus a 7,000-foot runway. So
I was watching you last night on YouTube, and everybody needs to go to YouTube and see this lady flying. She is amazing, but the way you circled around and you could see the airport in the distance, and I'm thinking, well, here's a whole lot of trees, and she just comes in and just, you have to drop down behind the trees to land, right?
Yeah, you do. It's tricky because even on, you know, downwind, you can't even see the airport, a lot of the runway. Yeah. So you have to kind of figure out your landmark. So, okay, that's the end of the tree line, so that's I'm a beam my into the runway, and you just kind of trust that it's going to be there when you turn, you know, base to final, and then you finally, okay, there it is. And then it's tricky too with the winds, because, you know, you've got winds above the trees, but as soon as you get below those trees, it cuts off. So you've got to be prepared to adjust for that too. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it. But after, you know, you do it time and time again, it just becomes pretty easy, I guess.
It's got to be a rush.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, we wanna wish you good luck in the future, and we would like to come out and bum a ride sometime.
I think we can put that on books.
Thank you.
Thank you.